Hello, everyone, and welcome to Have You Met Alex, our live conversation about CINC AI experiences. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our hosts for the day. My name is Cayla Priest, and I am a CINC certified trainer and community manager here at CINC. And I am joined by the wonderful Mike Davis. Mike, can you intro yourself as well, please?
Hey everybody, my name is Mike Davis. I'm also a CINC certified trainer and a product manager over AI. And as Alvaro, our CEO, called me, I'm the spinal cord of our AI system, kind of connecting all the different departments in there. And so that's kind of my role with the AI and how I've gotten involved in this call series as well.
Awesome. So this call or conversation, I should say, is for anyone who is curious about CINC AI and has not officially met Alex yet, and is interested in kind of getting some more details before they take the plunge. And it's also for those of you who are already utilizing CINC AI, you are well versed in all things Alex, but you are looking for some tips and tricks to take using AI to the next level. So to help us do that today, we have a wonderful CINC client with us, Rick Turley. Rick, could you say hi and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your team there in Nevada, and yeah, just a little bit about how you guys operate.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Kayla and Mike, for having me in. That was great. We use Sync, completely 100% for all of our processing of leads, et cetera, and follow up through the lead systems. Um, we've been using you guys now for what, 4 or 5 years, I think it is, or maybe longer. I don't know.
Mhm.
I was very lucky to be introduced to you guys by Tycor Title, and went through some metrics training and got really, really good at it after that. But we've been using the Alex system specifically since it came out. God, what was it? I don't even remember how long ago it was, but 6 months or something ago now.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
must be about 6 months now that it's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
live to
I think
everybody.
it seems like it's been a while. And of course, it was something new for the team to get used to. And what it's doing, and what I think is probably the best thing about it, is we have a huge database. And so constantly people are coming to us. Originally, we're 1 year, we're 2 years, we're 5 years out, blah, blah, blah. And of course, we keep communicating with all of them on your AI automations, et cetera, et cetera. But what Alex does, I think, absolutely fantastic, and we're really, really happy with, is when it sees those behaviors, it comes back on and starts a conversation with that client. And I've heard people say, "Oh, but it's not the conversation I want." But well, you know what though, you're not there 24/7 looking at your computer, waiting for something to come on. And this does do it. I'm looking forward to where it's going to my phone, the conversations too, so that if I do need to interject, I can go, "Yeah, yeah, right." But we've hired somebody here in the staff that actually monitors it during the daytime, and so it not only allows us to see who those new people are, but we use a pond system, which most, I think, heavy users use. And so it allows them to take that person out of the pond and assign it to an agent right away, so that there is this communication. They feel like they're being, oh my gosh, you guys are so quick, or things like that. We get those comments constantly about it. And it's all good. I mean, I just really don't see any downside to it. Every once in a while, like you said, Kayla, we'll get some weird responses and stuff like that, but it's so easy to interject. That's my assistant, you know, da 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 da. I understood what you were trying to say. I'm live now and in color, blah blah blah, and it opens a conversation. And it's kind of funny. I Some people realize it's a bot talking to them basically, and they're fine with that. And especially if you come in immediately or fairly shortly afterwards. Sometimes they're at 3 in the morning, so but if you come back in and go, "Oh, that was my assistant. Sorry about that. Bad answer. Blah 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 blah. Here you go." We found it to be an invaluable tool.
And people are pretty understanding that, hey, that was an assistant or that was my piece of technology, and Sorry, it
Yep.
went a little sideways.
Yeah, and you know what? I think, 99% of people we've never had a problem with. Every once in a while you get somebody, but you're
That's
not
the
going to
nature
reach
of the
all the
beast,
people all
right?
the
You win
time,
some,
right?
you
Yeah.
lose some, and it's kind of like that with every piece of technology, right?
Exactly. I cuss my email daily, right? Where did that email go? I know it was just right there, so, yeah, same stuff.
Awesome,
Well,
awesome. Well, just to kind of to circle back, you said you'd been on since it was around. What initially attracted you to that AI feature? Kind of what was like that driving factor behind I want to add on this Alex character?
I was already using Yolopo, and I had brought them in to supplement you guys before you had AI. And I knew it worked to a certain extent. I wasn't thrilled with Yolopo's whole system. It was terrible, to be honest with you. And I'm not trying to bash your competition, but having it integrated into the CINC platform is so much nicer.
yeah, it's always nice to work out of one platform instead of having stuff split up into two.
Right.
So it sounds like you were already, comfortable with AI because you were using it with another system.
Right.
What would you say to people who are maybe on the fence and say, I'm not really sure I want to turn that thing over, that task over to AI. I really like to be able to handle it myself. What do you say to those people?
You're not ever there 24/7, and don't be such a control freak. Let it go.
Yeah. I'll pitch it
I
back
know
over
there's
to Mike
people,
in
yeah.
just a moment, but that's something that I want to hit on too, because we actually do have some people say, well, I don't really like to reach out, after a certain time because I think it's not professional or whatever the reason is. And it's a sticking point to them that AI is 24/7. So tell me, do you like that it does run 24/7?
I personally do, and partially it's because where I'm located, I'm sure. I'm sure there's parts of the country where that would be but Vegas is a 24-hour town, so yeah, no, it's not an issue for us at all. And I get that. And maybe that's, an upgrade. Here we could switch it off between midnight and 4 in the morning or whatever. But I think if the client is online, they're obviously awake. They're looking at properties or some other thing, and not everybody keeps a 9 to 5 schedule. And I think they're missing out on huge opportunities with those people, even if it's in a part of the country where it might not be polite. And I know one client got shocked and said something back to me that, oh my God, you guys are working at 2 in the morning. I thought I could sneak on here and look around without anybody knowing. Right? And I'm like, oh no, it's not a problem. Take your time, go. But yeah, I would have a hard time turning it off at any time myself personally.
I don't want to miss those opportunities.
Right, exactly. And
Right.
sometimes, yeah, and sometimes you're not answering fully till the morning. But at least they got some response back there. They may or may not have continued the conversation, but just Helen being able to see that in the morning when she comes in, she's going through all her conversations, boom, boom, boom. Everybody gets taken care of in one way or the other, and that's key, I think.
Awesome. Mike, what else do we have for Rick?
So one of the things that we really want to talk about is how Alex can benefit teams of all different shapes, sizes, formats. They're all using the CINC system, they're all using Alex, but everyone kind of has their own team structure. Can you give us some insight into how your team is structured? I know you mentioned that you had hired someone to kind of work as Alex's assistant or kind of manage those conversations, but you can give us a little insight into how your team's set up, how you utilize CINC, and how you integrated Alex into your processes.
Yeah. So our team's, set up. There's 8 to 10 agents at any given time on our team. We have our own separate office from our brokerage. I found that was vital in creating a great team. What do you call it? A community, and
Mhm.
bonding, et cetera, et cetera. I use the metrics pond system. And I can't say enough great things about Brett and Brian. They're really smart guys. Um, the basic premise is that you're keeping 100 or so leads that you can keep track of as an individual agent. And then of course you have the pond where everybody else is. So Alex is really vital to working that pond, in my estimation, because I used to try to go through it every morning and see who was on, who was off, blah blah blah, transfer them over to agents and all that stuff, and it took up a lot of my time, and we were in the process of hiring someone to be like an office ISA type of person into the thing. We have TCs that really take care of all the paperwork for the team. Basically, they write a contract and then she takes it from there. And so that was the missing piece because I was doing it myself. And, I knew that from Brian and them training that had to be something I got busy with very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And what you know, it it's definitely a system all in, that you're doing. Um, we're not a big call town, and I've got into it with Mr. Marone on that, before.
I bet.
He loves that stuff, and I love John. Um, but people do take calls here when they're interacting. We get a lot of spam calls in Vegas, from a lot of different things. So I know it's hard for me and I have to answer my phone because obviously I'm in the service industry.
Mhm.
So, but it really has made those calls much more intentional and much more productive for the agents. So it took away some of that. I'm getting tired of getting hung up on every single time I'm calling. So we have, huge text program things that are set up, and, email campaigns, obviously, that go out as well. Videos, we use your video portion of the platform extensively to introduce ourselves as well as to follow up. And sometimes it's just that easy. It's a text video. Hey, can I call you right now? Are you busy? And we found all those things lead to more intentional calls, and then those calls become much more productive for our agents, and that's what it's all about. Putting that volume on the board at the end of the day is what we're all after, right? So that's
Uh-huh.
kind of how we operate. It's a good little team, and you know I think you know it's hard to grasp in a lot of the big box brokerages that is, you need that kind of separation, you need that kind of thing, because people can get diverted in a lot of different ways. And I think having a good system for them where they see they're successful at it just makes a better bond. And longer term, we don't do too much turnover over here. I don't spend a huge amount of time recruiting at all. Actually, I probably need to do way more. Yeah, I'm lazy as hell about that, but it's because, I know these 6 core group members that we have are going to produce, the volume, and they're going to take care of that client. And so that's a little bit of my control freak thing. It's like, I got to go through this with a new person. Are they going to really take care of them, and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm. Well, that's actually a pretty good segue for one of my favorite questions when Mike and I are having these conversations. Have you closed any business that AI made the connection for you, or are you actively working with anyone from an AI connection right now?
We've closed multiple people from AI connections.
Mhm.
We have a report that comes out for showing return clients that bought into the system, and typically we there's 1,500 days on there, 3,000 days on there, or not 3,000 but 2,400 days on there, 500 days, 365, on every month. It's an every month occurrence. So
Mhm.
that is definitely attributable to AI and the campaigns and stuff that we use. on it.
So it sounds like it's doing well at helping you with some of those older leads that have been in the platform for a while.
It really is. It's the key to all of those. We keep the team members on it for the first 30 days of the coming into the system, because there's a lot of people that want service right now. And then I think it's about 32%, if I remember exactly correctly, that are from the pond back into our system. So those would be history type people. So Alex would be a vital portion of all of those. The searches are obviously, in there too, because they see houses they want, they like, or whatever, click.
Mhm.
But that's where you see that behaviors, and Alex kicks on, and boom, it goes right back into the system. And the agents know if it comes from the pond that there's big intent there, and so they're reaching out back to them. But that's all part of the sync system.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, that is exactly what it's Alex is designed to do, is tee up those opportunities. So it sounds like you guys are taking full advantage of that behavioral message aspect that Alex can cover for you. Instead of your agents fielding those responses, Alex is carrying that conversation, teeing up those opportunities out of your pond. Do you take advantage of the new lead aspect as well and let Alex field the new leads as they register, or do you just kind of rely on Alex to do
No,
the nurturing?
we do, because the initial texts go out before we can even look at the damn thing. So we definitely do, in going into it. And I just tell them, once you're in contact, mute him for that particular period of time, and then we'll turn him back on when we go into the pond. And so some of the agents will leave it on, especially if the person's not answering them, or what have you. So I'd say probably it's like 50% of them are being actively worked with Alex at the beginning stages of it. The other 50% are agents that are, they've gotten some communication going, so we muted it at that point.
Awesome.
Here's one of my favorite questions.
Ooh.
Is there an experience, a time that you can recall where Alex maybe didn't say what you'd hoped they would say, and you had to reach out to the lead and smooth things over? Can you just kind of tell us if you've had an experience like that and how it played out?
Yeah, we've had multiple, but yeah, that when you have a lot going in and a lot going out, it happens, right? I found that people are real understanding of it. I've had a couple of bad experiences where they're like, "Oh my God," like it shocked them that we even had AI. But I either tell them, "Hey, that was my assistant. I'm here now live for you, et cetera, et cetera. How can we assist? I see what you're asking. Here's the answer for that you were looking for," or what have you.
Mhm.
And most people are pretty understanding of it. They're used to talking to bots now on almost every single website. Most of them are messenger based, which gives them delayed responses. So I think there, there's a positive experience about getting an immediate response. And even if it's the wrong response, if somebody comes in and chimes in immediately or the very next morning, "Hey, sorry about that. That was my assistant. I saw that you weren't ready right now. I get it. 90 days is not a problem with us. We're here for, we've been here for 10 years. We're going to be here for another 10. Anytime you're ready. But I looked at what you were looking for. I've changed your search for you, so you'll get automatic updates." Just updating them on what's going on. um, you're always going to have a few people that just get freaked out by technology, and those aren't our clients. It's the way
Right.
yeah, yeah, sorry, but it's just not our clients. And
And you're okay with that because you guys are doing the business that you'd like to be doing, it sounds like.
yeah, and we've grown every year since we started with you guys. It's a process. You got to get used to it. You guys are not easy.
Uh-huh.
It's a complicated thing, but and I tell everybody that that's asking me about it, I go, you need to spend the time. That first year, spending that time with Brian and Brett, spending time with the other people around you guys, and really digging in and knowing exactly how everything works on the system is so important, because as you move along and grow, you don't have time to go backwards on it, right? You're growing and stuff. So I I'm a firm believer in database, work.
Mhm.
Obviously, the bigger it gets, the more we've added people in to help with it. But um, you know, it's even like our old customers that we've sold, they still feel like they're tied to us. And that's, important stuff, because, just like I said, 30% or more of our business, I think it's 32, comes from those people coming back, that have already left, oh, I can't buy right now. My daughter crashed her car, or what, there's all kinds of reasons why people can't buy at the moment. But that's added 30% to our volume every year. New is
Awesome.
good, don't get me wrong. And I like those new ones coming in, but adding that back in, and I've just seen that number grow every year. When I first started with Sync, it was 5 or 6%, and then it was 7 or 8%, 10, 12, and it's just grown over the years. And I think that is, I think John calls it the hidden gold or whatever, but that's really where it's at, because you, as more and more of these, I call them portal brokers, which come into the market, and we're very competitive, very similar to Phoenix. More of them come in the market, they're using all that data to remarket all these people and go back at them, and even on the refinances, etc. So your customers, if they're not hearing from you, they are hearing from them, and
Right.
they will grab them and stuff. So I think it's really vital for that, the retention of customers as we move along.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So it sounds like the that automation in the pond taking care of those past databases helps you stay present in that home buying process, but you
Mhm.
know saves you the time from having to go in and do it all manually.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it. You don't have time to do, I think I've got 20,000 active or something like that right now. And, and there's probably 10 or 15,000 that are not active, that blocked us in some way or the other. But it's vital. There's just no way anybody, one person or even a team of 10 people could keep track of all of that. And that's just the bottom, why you should use it. It's a no brainer.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm waiting for you to put it on my phone, Mike.
So that
Say
was
something on
actually
my
going to
phone.
be one of
I
my
want them on my phone, Mike.
that was actually going to be one of my questions. I had two questions to kind of wrap us up if Cayla doesn't have anything else.
No,
But
yeah.
one of those was gonna be, what's something that you would like to see us implement with AI?
That's
And
absolutely, yeah,
the
that's
mobile piece.
the mobile piece, because you know, it, being able to give that answer right on the phone immediately, even if you're out on an appointment, et cetera, et cetera. We, everybody's designed to work off of these now. And obviously, Helen is a great backup and make sure that they get communicated to. But if you see that faux pas and you immediately hit it right, that's even better than that 5 or 10 minutes or an hour, or depending on what the situation is, of getting them the right answer. So I'm all about mobile.
Awesome. Well, I've added that to our feature enhancement request list. So that'll be one of those questions that I ask all of our interviewees on these, is kind of what they're looking for. You guys have hopped onto our call and given us part of your time, so definitely want to get whatever you're looking for on that list somewhere. Um, but just to wrap us up, I wanted to thank you for your time today, but I wanted to know if there's any piece of advice that you could give a team that is considering AI and looking at what that means for their business. What would that be, that piece of advice that you would offer?
Don't hesitate, just do it. Let
I,
go of the control. I don't, it was hard for me, to go to all the automation and such and such. I always thought, oh my God, I got to tell them exactly what's going on, and it's got to be perfect, and et cetera, et cetera. But no, it just immediately improves your business. It's just a fact.
Awesome.
awesome. Well, we are so glad that you're able to join us for our Have You Met Alex series. We're glad that you've met Alex and hope that anyone joining us on this interview has either already met him or is willing to meet them soon and have them come on and be a part of your team as well. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, Rick. And with that, we'll let you guys go.
Yeah, thank
Mike.
you, Rick.
Thank you,
You've been
Cayla.
awesome.
Appreciate you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.